So I'm going to say now, regardless of what I'm about to hear, this is guaranteed to be, at most, my second favourite thing linking to Georgia. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the ESC Harry channel. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Today we will be reacting to the entry the Georgian broadcaster has selected for Eurovision 2025. That's right, the Georgian broadcaster have submitted a song. They've announced the artist and the song within the space of an hour. It's about time, I guess, and it is Mariam Shengelia with the song Freedom. Apologies if I've mispronounced your name, Mariam, in any way. Now, Georgia obviously coming off their qualification last year, so they'll be hoping probably to make it back-to-back years. And before anyone mentions it, I am aware of her beliefs and various things like that. I'm proceeding with this reaction with caution. Based on what I'm going to hear, I will make my judgment on the song according to that. But before we get into the reaction, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you're new to ESC Harry, and comment down below, what do you think about the entry the Georgian broadcaster has submitted to Eurovision 2025? With that being said, let's get to reacting. Okay, so hitting play in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, she's in quite a big dress, I have to say. Is this just being performed on a stage? Dramatic opening, I have to say. I believe it's in Georgian. I'm now cautious because I don't know what she's singing about. Is there a way to add the lyrics on? Sadly not. I'll look them up after. It feels very Georgian in terms of just its styling at the moment. Sounds a bit messy in this instrumental in the chorus here. Very dramatic. Something not quite, I'd say, modern in 2025 about it. Okay, now it's in English. About caring. Quite generic lyrics. So I'm assuming these are just the lyrics we heard in the first chorus, but translated into English. To be honest, I'm gonna come on to the lyrics in a sec. The song itself, not really doing anything in terms of the instrumental. It feels a bit messy, I'll be honest. Very traditional, in a sense. Is that the end of the song? Okay. Fair enough. That was the entry the Georgian broadcaster has selected for Eurovision 2025. Right, so that was the entry the Georgian broadcaster has selected for Eurovision 2025. Let's get on to the actual song itself first. I think it's got some interesting bits to it. It has, in a sense, the traditional style Georgia goes for, where it's like quite messy. In a sense, there's not as much flow like compared to other songs that other countries usually send. I remember Fingers Known was quite messy and chaotic. Fingers Known, it was called Echo, you idiot. Everyone knows it as Fingers Known from 2023. Firefighter was a little bit messy even, but I still quite enjoy that song. This one, you know, it's verse, chorus, verse, chorus. There's a little bit of like dramatic at the start, which is quite interesting, I have to say. But it gets into the chorus, it's quite messy instrumentally, and yeah, it's not exactly anything I'm going to remember in about an hour's time, I would say. Okay, so truthfully, this part is a re-record from initial first reaction and analysis. I don't like doing this usually. I prefer to just get my first thoughts out. However, with topics that I'm about to discuss, I prefer to just take a step back, look at what the perception is online and just in general, read into various things like that before making too hard assumptions and getting too hard into a topic. For those that don't know, Mariam is part of a Georgian organization which basically is against the riots from late November last year, or just late last year, and is pro-Russia. And they spread a lot of propaganda to an extent. Now, obviously, if you do not like this song because of that, or just haven't bothered to listen to it, first of all, what are you doing here? But that's completely fair. If people do that, I've got no issue with that. I usually like to stay away from politics and can separate the two. However, in my first initial thoughts on this, when hearing the English lyrics in particular, obviously at the time I didn't know the Georgian lyrics and the translation there, it felt quite on the ilk of trying to convey a message linking to the organisation she supports. The freedom, and it was vague, it was absolutely vague, but there was an element of uncomfortableness that I felt when hearing those English lyrics. However, on second reading, while I feel that way, that this could easily be interpreted in the context of a propaganda-ish piece, political-ish piece, reading the lyrics again, we have had these kind of lyrics before in Eurovision, and they've not linked in any way to such topics. This area of Europe can sort of have these more poetic, vague-ish lyrics in their song, especially when you translate them into Georgian. So while I feel there is potential these lyrics absolutely link to her ideologies, and her bad ideologies, I would say, I'm not as hard on it as I maybe was in my first take. I still don't like it. With these kind of issues, I'd rather just them sing a song that literally could have no link to it whatsoever, do a breakup song or for whoever I care, just has literally no link at all. But this is borderline. So while I'm not going to subtract my point that I made in my first take, which you won't see because it is, you'll see this one, I wanted to edit my thoughts just based on taking a step back and putting them in a more diplomatic, calmer way. That being said, in terms of how this will get on, Georgia is in the second half of semi-final 2. Looking at just the song itself, I would have hesitancy saying this will qualify. I don't see this in the final. It feels quite messy. It feels, as I said in my first part, quite Georgian in that sense. There's not enough of a hook, I think, even without the context stuff potentially there. It doesn't really connect with me and see a song that could potentially work with the televote. I suppose Armenia is in this semi-final, so whether there's regional voting links there, I'm not sure, but I think after qualifying last year, Georgia are potentially going to struggle this year. Anyway, that is my thoughts on the entry the Georgian delegation has decided to send to Eurovision, but remember, my opinion is not the correct one, it is just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the entry the Georgian delegation has sent? How do you think it will get on in Basel? Once again, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new to EC Harry so you do not miss any Eurovision 2025 content. All that's left me to say is I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time for another video on this channel. Take care, guys.